what got you from 0 to 100 is not going to get you from 100 to 1,000. It's a completely different skill set, right? So what I spend a lot of time thinking about, and it could be from $0 to $100, from 100 to $1,000, right? And it could be in millions or whatever, right? And I think that journey is something that is new to me. So what I keep thinking about is what's the unknown, right? I know what we went through.
Hello, and welcome to Indian Explorers. In this podcast, we talk about Indian success stories. I am Sabrina, and together with my co host Amit, we will get to understand the journey of our guests and what really drives them. The optimism, courage, patience, idealism, these are the attributes of theirs that we want to bring to life. So if you enjoy the show, please hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Hello, how was it going?
Sabrina, good morning. Much better today.
Okay, something happened yesterday or?
Yes. I actually want to show you. I'm going to send you some photographs later. But this is the state of Chandani's car yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, look at that.
Who was driving? What happened?
Chandani was on her way to pick up Gotham from school at 4 p.m. and she had Rayan, my 3-year-old, in the back seat of the car, and they hit a
Oh.
bus. Yeah.
And
So
everyone okay?
yeah. I mean, we went to the hospital, we checked everything. Luckily, the bus she hit as well, no one was hurt, but it was a scary moment. She was in
Of
shock when she called
course.
me, obviously in tears. And I tell you what, that expensive seat belt and that car seat for the kid, lifesaver, absolute lifesaver. There was no two ways about it. But
And the baby
once I
was
was,
not in the car, just Rayon, the
no,
3-year-old.
correct. So what we did is
Oh my goodness.
after the car was towed away, after we finished at the hospital, doing the checkups, um, I was actually I was in the hospital and I was getting angry and upset because the level of service of the hospital was like AAA. It was so good. Uh, we walked in, you said, hey, we have had an accident. They immediately, two people come in with a wheelchair. They take Chandni in one room. I go with Rehan in the other room. Immediately, two people come in. They check blood pressure. They ask us a few questions. In and out within 60 minutes with the test done, insurance, everything covered. I was
Okay.
just thinking, I mean, I've just spent the last week checking out videos and photographs of hospitals in Gaza and where they have no lights, no electricity, and no anesthesia, no
No
fuel.
supplies.
Yeah, and I was thinking about what I've just been through, a minor car bump. Okay, the car is gone, but I was just angry. Like, what's
Yeah.
going on over there? And we are just helpless. We're doing nothing. I've seen millions of people protest all over the world, but the politicians don't seem to care. And I was just thinking how life can change in a moment for us. And that was just 1 second an accident. Imagine having to live in a place where you're getting carpet bombed. So I've just been really like angry and upset about this whole war. I thought
Yeah.
Ukraine
Yeah.
war was bad enough, and now this is happening. And
I've been keeping up with what's going on there, and it is like it's upsetting and it's emotional, but I know like for you it's really like you've been like sleeping on this, right? It's carrying heavy on you. Which
yeah,
I'm saying like I'm not putting any light to this matter at all. I do, I feel, but I haven't seen you feel so much about an issue going on in the world as I have this one.
I think 3,000 children are dead.
I
I
know.
can't believe I even saying such an expression. 3,000 children are dead, and the greatest country in the world, America, is giving carte blanche to Netanyahu to keep on bombing, right of defense. And I'm just thinking, who's the
Gaza's
terrorist?
devastated. Like the Gaza Strip is devastated now.
Yeah, I mean, if Hamas, we know are terrorists, we know we need to get them out.
I know.
But the way we're doing it, killing so many civilians, I think the world is turning against Israel, and the own Jewish people around the world are so upset. After what they went through with the Holocaust, they said never
Yeah.
again to anybody. And here they
Yeah.
are. I mean, it's just mind blowing what's happening. It's extremely upsetting. And, I don't want to go into too much, Sabrina, because we can go in for an hour.
Yes, we
But
could go on for an hour.
I feel like the West is on the wrong side over here, and I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I'm happy that everyone is safe, that Chandani and Gotham are safe. I mean, and Rayan and Gotham. And a car's a car, but thank God
Yeah,
they made it out safely.
yeah. On a lighter side, Messi won his 8th Ballon d'Oro.
Mm-hmm.
He was the favorite to win it after they won the World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo has only 5. Only. I think
Only,
it's
yeah,
an amazing achievement. And his speech, was very eloquent. He basically said, "Here I am receiving this award for my career, but I'm seeing Mbappe, Haaland, and all these young players, and the future of football is bright and in safe hands. And
yeah,
I'm expecting." Basically, it was his retirement speech. It was the last time he was going to be invited for Ballon d'Oro, and
yeah.
he spoke like a gentleman, and he's a true tribute to humanity, unlike what we're seeing in the rest of the world.
Did you, speaking of football, notice I didn't say soccer, football.
Yeah,
Did you
thank
watch
you.
the Beckham documentary on Netflix?
No, everyone's raving on about it, but I feel like,
Watch it.
Jordan, The Last Dance, the way people put it up there, I remember going through it. I remember his gambling, Dennis Rodman.
Just watch it. Just
Yeah,
watch it.
okay.
You know what? It made me like him even more. It made me like her.
Yeah,
Not that I wasn't a fan. I just didn't think about her, but I liked her.
he married
Yeah.
Posh, right? Posh Spice.
Posh Spice.
I don't
Yes.
even know her real name.
Victoria. Victoria Beckham. But
Victoria.
watch it, and I think you'll enjoy it as a football fan.
Yeah, all right, will do. Sabrina, one other thing, another bad news. I want to
Oh,
dedicate,
you're
yeah,
full of it.
sorry, but I want to dedicate this episode to a friend of the pod. Her name is Hinara
Yes.
from Las Palmas. She lost her husband recently through cancer, and I know she's a friend of the pod, and I just want to, say that we're thinking about her, and we wish her
Absolutely.
all the best, her and her family, and yeah, that this one's dedicated to her.
Yes, absolutely. To her and her family and her husband, positive thoughts to all of them and our condolences.
I think we need to get onto the pod so we can.
Let's do it. So I'm thrilled to introduce today Sahil Vora. He is headquartered in Bombay. He is the founder of SILA, a comprehensive real estate platform in India. So they are taking a holistic approach to real estate. SILA has 4 verticals: a facility management, contracting solutions, real estate advisory, and development, where they are currently constructing 500,000 square feet of real estate. SILA manages over 150 million square feet of assets with over 20,000 employees across India. He runs SILA with his brother. They have reached this business scale in under 14 years. And on top of it all, they are both Indian national squash players. So let's find out how he does all this. Welcome. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thanks, Amit, for having me.
Yeah. Did I get all
Sahil,
those details right?
I don't think so, Sabrina.
Yeah,
I think it's Silla.
it's SILA. That's correct.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry.
No,
Okay.
that's
I think
fine. You may want to take that again first time, but you can edit it later, or you can do it again.
I don't think we need to edit it. An American will think it's Sila, and the rest of the world thinks it's Silla. So that's just the way it is. I
Got
don't
it.
think we need to
There's a
edit
restaurant
anything.
down the road from me, SILO, silo. So I just made
Yeah,
the assumption and I should have asked you first. So SILA, everyone, it's SILA.
I knew it, Sabrina, but I kept
that's
quiet.
correct.
And what does it stand for?
Sila means strength and morality. It's
Okay.
strength in Slavic script and morality in Pali, which is a Buddhist, script. So it started off with me knowing it meant strength in Slavic. Don't ask me why I knew Slavic, but I and then I Googled it, and it all tied in quite well, and I liked the sound of it. So that's how it came about.
I love that. Well, I will never forget that word again or the pronunciation.
Sahil,
Okay.
squash is that game that people who are not good at tennis play, right?
That's not true. Squash is now an Olympic sport. We need more respect. We're finally getting the respect that we deserved for many years.
2028.
But
2028.
yeah, 2028. Super excited to read about the news. So happy for the squash community. We're obviously very passionate about squash and still play, still
You
follow the
could be in it
sport. So very excited.
if you
Yeah,
carried on playing
Uh,
squash.
no,
are you
You
no,
could
young
be in it.
enough
no,
to be
no,
in it?
no, no. I'm not young enough. I'm too old. I'm now playing with my brother the over 35 category. So they don't have that at the Olympics, and even if they did, I don't think my body would hold up for another 5 years. So I'm happy to see some other young budding talent play the Olympics. Excited for them.
Sahil, you grew up in India and then you went to the US to play squash in college, correct?
Yeah, so I grew up in Mumbai,
Okay.
Bombay, Mumbai, and then played squash my entire life. And at some point I knew that I wasn't probably passionate enough to turn professional, but I still loved the game enough to want to play. So I got lucky to got recruited to play at Trinity College in Connecticut, which was at
Wow.
that point the number one squash college in America and a great
Wow.
squash program. So played there for a few years, got a degree, and then started my career. But it was one of the most positive experiences of my life playing on the squash team with players from all over the world. They're still today friends of mine. Actually, just a couple of weeks ago, 200 of us showed up at campus because our coach retired. So we're all very, very connected to the squash program at Trinity even today.
Very
That's awesome.
cool. That's
Yeah.
great.
Sahil, I remember vaguely a coffee you and I had about 14, 15 years ago. I think it was below Inox or next to Inox, the one on Nariman Point. And I think you
Yeah,
had literally, I don't know if it was a napkin or a piece of paper, but you had a business plan that you were documenting and we were brainstorming. Was that the beginning of SILA or you had already started SILA back then?
it was probably around the time I was starting SILA because it was 2010. I actually moved back in 2009 with no real concrete business plan, but with the idea that I wanted to do something entrepreneurial. Actually, the first idea I had, or the first plan I had, was to open a nightclub in Mumbai called Pink Elephant. It was a nightclub in New York City, which I used to go to often. And then when the owners knew I was moving back, they said, "Why don't you look at Pink Elephant in India?" I actually had a royalty deal signed with them, and I said, "Give me 3 months. If it makes business sense, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll ditch the idea." Luckily for me, it didn't make business sense when I came on ground and I saw the rents and the permissions and the nuances of running a nightclub. So I dropped that plan and then started working on other ideas, and then that's probably the time when I was thinking through what we would do and what has today become SILA.
So I was reading your LinkedIn and there was a quote, I believe it's your quote, disrupt, don't pioneer, right? As an
Yeah,
entrepreneur. Is that what you did? Did you see that there was more space in an industry and you're like, this is where we're going to get into it. We're going to disrupt this industry and we're going to take over?
So, I do believe in that. I believe that, the first mover doesn't win the race. And, the person who sets the pace on the marathon usually falls away and doesn't win the race. So, the sector of real estate in India and had multiple inefficiencies that we saw. And since the capital required to start was not available to us, property management or facility management, which is the maintenance side of real estate, required the least capital, but also had a ton of inefficiencies that we saw that we believe we could do a little better. There was no IP to this, right? It's a commoditized service. It's just providing better quality service, compliances, using technology where we can. So that's kind of where we got started, is on the facility management side. And then we've thought about it, in a logical manner. At least we believe we've thought about it in a logical manner, where we've moved up the value chain in real estate from facility management on the maintenance side to providing project management advisory on the execution side, and then moving into real estate development. So we've kind of organically built the business within real estate. Obviously made a lot of mistakes, a lot of learnings, but we made the mistakes and learnings on smaller projects and smaller sites, as opposed to being a developer in South Mumbai and making big mistakes. So I think it's been the process has been quite organic in learning what we're doing today. So we thought at that point, my brother and I, as you know, my younger brother and I started SILA, that real estate's a scalable sector. Start on the services side, but we always knew we would want to move towards the development and asset management side.
So Rushabh is the younger brother, right? Rushabh?
Yep. Yeah, Rushabh
So
is the younger brother.
who's the boss?
He's a couple of years younger than me.
Who's the boss?
Well, now we've split our responsibilities quite clearly. So he's the boss of his domain, and I get to take the calls where I'm involved. But really, we have complementary skill sets, and that we've had from day one, which is really, really important. First, we trust each other blindly. That's the most important when you have a partnership with someone, whether it's your brother or co-founder. So we trust each other blindly. We get into arguments a lot, but not ones which are coming from a space of negativity. It's constructive, feedback to each other, and that's been extremely helpful. On the complementary skill sets, he's definitely more, he's got more focus, attention to detail. Academically, I think, he was much stronger than I was, and he's that guy who thinks through things and really executes and operates much better than I do. I'm probably, the one who's got the side of, dreaming a
Strategy.
bit more than he does, and I think he's got strategy too. But I feel I have low. I have a low attention span to things, so I'm happy to set up a part of the business, and then once it's done, move on to something else and move on to something else. So I'll go an inch deep, mile wide. He'll go a mile deep, inch wide, which is what's required.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are compatible in that sense. Your strengths and weaknesses balance each other
Yeah,
out.
the only place we do not agree on is when we play any sport. So that is the question when you ask me a question about sport against my brother, you'll not get a correct answer. I'm better than him at all sports, except
E-
FIFA on
Even
PlayStation.
squash. Even squash?
Even squash.
Okay.
Even squash, yes.
Okay.
That's
So
funny.
He'll not
I want
agree, but even squash.
we'll get him on. We'll get him on next month. So we'll talk to him next. Sabrina, I have so many questions I want to know about the businesses. The real estate development, which is I think the last vertical you got into, Sahil. I saw there was a project down the road where my in-laws still live. Behind Acropolis A and B on Little Gibbs Road, there's that building, Ishwar Bhavan.
Yeah.
Right. And I saw
Yeah.
that you're doing a project on 33 Little Gibbs Road. Can you tell us more about that so I can update my in-laws who are worried / excited?
Yeah, firstly, let me apologize to them on this podcast for the inconvenience we will cause over the next 4 years. But we hope that we'll build a nice asset next to them and we'll be neighbors. So, 30 Little Gibbs is a high-end residential building in a prime neighborhood. My brother and I are super excited about this project. We're going to be moving in there, and we've worked on this deal for some time. We're in construction right now. The market has been strong. We've recently launched the project and have sold 75% of the inventory. So the demand has been strong and the uptake has been good too. So we're excited about it. As Amit, you would know, it's a prime location. And that's what the strategy is on the development side. As we are building our brand as a developer, we're selling the location more than selling SILA being the developer. We're not trying to, we know where we are, right, in the evolution of our development arm. We're not as big as the other branded developers, but when you can get people to trust that you have the balance sheet and capability, then Malabar Hill or Little Gibbs Road sells itself. So Kemp's Corner or Opera House or prime areas in Alibag, which we're developing, the strategy is the same. That pick the right location, um, you know, capitalize it adequately to give confidence to the consumers that we'll get it done, and then it should sell.
That's great. And I'll make sure the apology is passed on to my in-laws. I think if it comes with
Okay.
a Sindhi friends and family discount on the current market rate, I think it'll be received a little bit better. But,
How
Sure, sure.
how competitive is the development industry in India right
ooh,
now?
ooh,
For people who don't know around the world listening, right?
So,
shocks.
development is an extremely regional business, right? Every micro market is very different. What the competitive nature of Malabar Hill is very different to the western suburbs or eastern suburbs. So each market has its own nature and competitiveness and price sensitivities. But generally, residential real estate in India has had a very strong 2 3 years. So there are tailwinds. I think COVID. Firstly, we're coming off a low, a 5 6 year cycle, which was quite poor for residential real estate across India. And then I guess there was pent up demand. COVID exacerbated that issue, and it led to a boom in the residential real estate
Okay.
space. So I would say it's competitive in various different micro markets, but there are tailwinds.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you on your revenue pie chart, you have four clear verticals, right? The real estate development, the new one, you've got facility management with thousands and thousands of employees, you've got contracting solutions, and you've got the advisory slash consulting business. If we had to put the four of them in a pie chart, can you give us what percentage approximately each one is in terms of revenue? Not staff, just revenue.
Yeah, so the way we break it up is in two companies, and that's the way it's set up. So all the services, which is facility management, contracting solutions, and advisory, is under our real estate services company or bucket, and then real estate development is a separate company, and run very differently. Both these companies have institutional capital. So
Okay.
we raised money from Norwest Venture Partners in 2019 in the services arm, and Samara Capital around the same time in the development arm. And that's how we look at these businesses: is that we have a services business and a development business.
Okay, got it.
The services business. The services business this year will do about $100 million in revenue, so about 800 crores, and has been growing at a CAGR of around 40% for the last few years. So it's still strong growth, um, and it is operationally intensive, but it's a very large addressable market size, right? There's a lot of development in India. There's a lot of infrastructure being built in India, and we're able to grow this at a relatively strong pace. Now, off there'll be a base effect, and I think this growth might drop from 40 to maybe 25, 30, but it's still a very strong growth rate. On the development side, we've got about 2,500 crores. That's about $300 million of gross development value across our 4 projects. In the last 2.5, 3 years, we've sold about $100 million of inventory. So those are the numbers on the development side. Where the strategy is to not bite more than we can chew. We're still early innings in that business. So we're happy with taking on maybe 1 project a year and delivering and then taking on more. I see this as a business that we can do for the next few decades. We don't want to trip on ourselves in seeing this tailwind behind us. So both the businesses have reasonable scale. And the key for us is to ensure that the teams who are working with us, that's very, very critical. And that's where we spend a lot of our time, are able to complement the skill sets me and my brother have, and taking us to the next leg of the journey.
And the services one, was it EBITDA positive from year 1, or it took a few years of investment?
EBITDA positive from year 1. The services business started with 1 crore of capital. That's $100,000, and that's the only capital we put in besides then working capital. So very, very efficiently managed. That's because the business did not need any capex. It needed working capital. So
people.
It needed people and working capital. So the business has been profitable. All businesses have been profitable from year 1.
That's awesome.
Are both the services and the development businesses organizationally structured the same, like from top down? Or do you have them structured differently?
Departmentally, they will have similar departments, but the operations team on the services business is the heart of that organization, right? It's operationally extremely intensive as a business with 21,000 odd employees, and this year we plan to add another 10,000 employees with the growth rate that we're seeing. It's a very operationally intensive business. It needs a lot of tech at the back end to manage, from attendance, payroll, quality, audits, customer experience. So it's got operations and tech, at the core of the services business. On the development business, it's a lot of on the strategy and finance side. It's a lot about how we're structuring these deals. Because we are putting capital to work in the development business. First project we invested 40 crores, which is about 4.5, 5 million. In the last project, we put in about 15 to 20 million, right? So here on the development side, we're spending a lot more time on how we're underwriting these deals and kind of risk managing the growth out there.
Okay, makes sense.
So I think that's, incredible numbers in such a short time frame. Kudos to you guys, you and your brother, and also kudos to the market, the potential that India has for you to be able to do this. Obviously, Modi and all the economic policies that are going on in India allow you for this growth. I wanted to ask you about your definition of success. Whether you look at it from a career or what you're doing at SILA, or more from a personal balance, how would you define if you're successful today?
Well, when I look at SILA, it's the success is in being able to, I feel really proud about at the core, the amount of employment we're able to generate, right? So really the core of our business is we call them frontliners, so the people who are working at our sites. I feel proud that we're able to give employment to 20,000 odd people, and I know that number will keep growing, giving opportunity to their children through our foundation. So we pay for every child of ours who works for our frontliners' children's education from primary to college, and this is part of profits, not CSR. So I feel proud, and I feel that for me is really, really satisfying. Obviously, when you look at it from our stakeholders' point of view, right? It's our customers, colleagues, and capital providers. These are my three stakeholders. It's important that my colleagues get the career journey that they're looking for. So I'm tracking that very closely and seeing the growth curves of people within the organization, not only as employees, but also as owners, and, riding the wave with us. When it comes to clients, it's really important that, the experience we're delivering, and we measure NPS scores very, very closely across the group. That's important. And lastly, the capital providers, right? Someone's trusted us as the fiduciary of their capital, and, we want to make sure we give them an exit. So I think success has got few barometers for me to check on. At the core, we feel proud about what we've built and the amount of people we've been able to impact, but it's important to see the three C's also.
Fair enough.
And what about personal? I mean, is that, if you're laying in bed at night and you think, what is success to me? Is it those categories, or is there a personal factor to it as well?
And what does the wifey say?
So on the personal side, I feel I need to do a better job with balancing work and work-life balance. I think I do a reasonable job. I get into work really early and I leave at a reasonable hour, but I feel over time, obviously, I need to make sure that I'm able to balance work and life better. My wife would be the best person to ask this, but yeah, I do think that
Bring her
there's
on.
room for me to improve out there. Yeah.
What are the hours?
This might go on for much longer.
What are the hours? 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah, so I get in around 8:30. But the problem is not the hours at work, right? The problem is the hours the brain is constantly working, even processing, right? I've never looked at my life as, how many hours am I working, right? This is personally not work for me. This is like a part of life. So I don't really understand this work-life balance. It's all life and how you can balance different parts of your life. But I need to do a better job of being present at work, being present at home, being present at all times. I have a 4-year-old son. I spend time with him reasonably. I drop him to school every day, and we get to spend time on weekends, and I help put him to sleep most days. But so I'm trying my best. But yeah, if there's an area of improvement, I think I need to improve out there.
I think it's so hard when it's your own business. We're all entrepreneurs, the three of us, but when it's your own business and you're so passionate about it, like you said, it's not work, it's life, to find that balance, right? It's yours. So 10 p.m. you're on the computer, or you're taking a phone call, or early in the morning you'll wake up extra to do it because it's what we're passionate about.
Sabrina, I have 50 employees. He said 20,000.
I know.
And he pays for the education of all the kids.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. So let me clarify that we started this program. So we don't pay for 20,000 kids education. It's in the few hundreds right now, but we're ramping them up. That's a vision for us, right? That's a foundation's vision, is that we will pay for all our frontliners' children's education, and it doesn't matter what grade, up to university, and hopefully make them employable.
Elon Musk started a school for his children, and now everyone in Tesla and SpaceX, they go to that school. I don't think he pays for their education, but I think he pays them good enough that they can afford to get into these schools.
Yeah.
But I think that's very good. Yeah. Like you mentioned, not from your CSR, like charity project, but this is out of your own profits. So it's in your P&L.
It's not technically allowed. Yeah, it's not allowed as per code to pay your employees' benefits out of CSR. So it goes straight out of profits.
What is CSR?
It's your so the Indian government mandates that you spend corporate social responsibility. You spend 2% of your profits on corporate social responsibility projects. So that's separate. This, what we're doing for our employees' children's education, that cannot be from CSR budgets. It's straight from the P&L.
And that's nationally mandated, the CSR.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole country.
I love it. I think
I love it.
Great.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about India. I mean, I obviously had a small experience of real estate development in India. I would say it was a failure because a 2.5, 3 year project lasted exactly double. And I did two small buildings with, a good friend of mine. And by the time the buildings were ready and the depreciation of the currency to the dollar, and by the time we got the buildings leased out, the payback period and the IRR was insignificant, if not irrelevant. So, uh, what's it like today? Like, would you encourage people to start businesses in India today with what's happening in the economy? Or is India only really for the people who are local, born there, have the network there, and can make things work?
Yeah, so I'll answer both parts. So one is, I know when you were in India and when you were doing real estate development, looking back, it was probably at that point, there was a slogan which was "Incredible India" in the early 2000s, which was, political slogan. It was probably "Inevitable India" at that point, and not "Incredible India." And now it is "Incredible India." I think that "Inevitable India" has moved for multiple reasons, geopolitical, we've matured as a country, to incredible India. There's clear momentum with us. There's a lot of entrepreneurial energy. Government reforms have been very positive. Capital is available. We used to rely on foreign capital for a lot of business ideas, but now there's a huge pool of domestic capital, which is kind of competing with foreign capital. Or let me put it the other way: foreign capital that's competing with domestic capital, which doesn't have that currency risk issue that you spoke about. So I think there have been a lot of factors which has made India very exciting today, and I believe over the next few decades. And then the other part of the question is, do you need to be local to be here? I think that's true for any business, Amit. I think, when I worked at a hedge fund in New York, I felt, and I worked hard, but I felt that I wasn't local. I wasn't getting the asymmetric information. I didn't have the circles who knew what was going on in the market. So you have to be a part of the local crew or find your way into that crew. It's hard to remote control large businesses. As an investor, it's different, but if you're running these businesses, you need to be on ground. So if you come on
But
ground, I think you'll find it's easier.
I, what I meant, sorry, I wasn't clear. What I meant was you guys are born, brought up in India. Me, Sabrina, and millions of NRIs, we don't know the local culture, the language. For us to come to India today, which by the way I'm considering, um, you know, for us it's much harder to start a business or run a business and definitely scale a business to what you have done. I think it's like really phenomenal what you've done. And from an NRI perspective, I find very few who have gone to India and are doing as well. So I want to know if you find that an obstacle. Obviously, to work in India, you have to be in India. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, so I agree with you. It is a challenge, which if I were you in your case, or if I moved to another country to start a business, I would partner with a local who is born and raised there and has some of the networks that you may not have, and I would leverage on you, for the global network, which is also required for ideas, innovation, capital, maybe. But I would say that partnering with someone local, it's not impossible if you want to do it on your own, but it'll kind of shortcut the process, which might be useful to do.
Sahil, who have been your sources of inspiration or role models along the way?
Elon, like I mentioned, Elon Musk. Who are the Elon Musks of India that you follow or worldwide?
Or people personal to you that you personally know?
Uh, Yeah, so there have been many, right? Being a sportsman growing up, you always have role models in sport. I love sport, right? It's not only squash, cricket, golf now. So I've admired many sportsmen growing up. As an Indian, Sachin Tendulkar is the first idol that everyone in my generation has. But besides the sports role models coming to, as I grew older, I don't read as much, but I watch a lot of podcasts like this, right? So from John Gray, David Rubenstein in India, a lot of respect for people like Ajay Piramal, Azim Premji, who've built large businesses and given back a lot to the country also, right? So obviously you see the scale of a company like Reliance and what they're doing and disrupting. So you learn a lot from people. On a personal front, my squash coach, Paul Asiante, has been a mentor to me for many, many years, and till today, we're really in touch. He's been someone I've learned a lot from,
Is that your
my
coach from
family,
Trinity? That's your
my
coach from
coach from
Trinity?
Trinity, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then my family obviously has been a great support, right? My wife, my parents, in-laws, they've all seen the journey, and you need that support system. So I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of respect all around. I wouldn't say I have one role model that I've kind of idolized. I think there are quite a few people I've taken or tried to take bits and pieces from.
Did you lose your hair because of SILA, or before SILA as well? You were
Well, the damage was done in New York City. I was working European hours for a few years,
No, you were
and
at Pink
then
Elephant partying a lot.
that's what it is, pink
that
elephant.
that that's also true. Actually, that's probably one of the reasons. My
Yeah.
lifestyle in New York was not the greatest, and then I was like, I asked my wife if she's cool with this look, and she said I should go with it, and that's it. So this is the inevitable look, and I went for it.
Looks
Looks
good.
good. Yeah, looks good. Looks good.
Yeah,
I didn't
Um,
know you before. I haven't seen a picture of you with hair, but I think it looks great.
yeah.
um, I wanted to ask you, what keeps you up at night? What is the threat? Like obviously, when you're having 20,000 plus employees, you have a business of your scale. There's threats every day. There's tension. What is the one thing that you can't control or that keeps you up at night?
So I don't know if it keeps me up at night, but there are a few things that I'm thinking through constantly. So I think the role from building a business to now, not constantly building different verticals, but nurturing talent and scaling it steadily. I think the role of a risk manager is something that I've been playing a lot, and that keeps me up, not at night, but I want to keep trying to troubleshoot or figure out where the loopholes in our system, if there are any, as we scale, right? Because what got you from 0 to 100 is not going to get you from 100 to 1,000. It's a completely different skill set, right? So what I spend a lot of time thinking about is, and it could be from $0 to $100, from 100 to $1,000, right? And it could be in millions or whatever, right? And I think that journey is something that is new to me. So what I keep thinking about is what's the unknown, right? I know what we went through, right? So if someone tells me how do I start a business, I'll tell you all the mistakes I made, all the things we did well. But what I don't know is how to take the company from 100 million to a billion, right? I've never done that before. So that's what um,
Yeah,
not keeps me up at night, but that's what I'm trying to learn more about.
sure.
Okay.
But the mentors, your board, obviously you have, regular
Yeah,
brainstorming
very,
sessions.
very, very helpful. So I'm fortunate. One of my close friends, father is someone who's mentored me. Mr. Ajay Piram was a very successful businessman. He's been very kind to help me through the journey, and I have deep respect for him and the effort he's taken in guiding me. And then we have a very strong board with investors from Norwest and Samara. Shiv and Sumit have been great guides and Shiv is a very close friend growing up, Sumit also. So I think we've surrounded ourselves with people who are helpful, and that we're fortunate for. So that definitely helps.
I want to recommend a book. uh,
Okay.
the
Finding
The
your
messy
way
messy
to the
middle.
middle.
hardest and most
Yeah.
crucial part of, and you bolded.
Basically, what you mentioned, it's not from 0 to 100, but it's the once you've got the businesses up and running, how do you manage and stay motivated and go through various cycles when things are not only going up? How do you deal with it? It's interesting.
Amit, to say the title for people listening on audio.
The Messy Middle by
The Messy
Scott
Middle.
Belsky.
Got it.
Great.
Thank you.
Sahil, we're going to go into a rapid fire session where we ask you some questions and you just give us what's on your thoughts. I'm going to go
Cool.
first. What is your go-to alcoholic drink when you were at your nightclub in New York?
Vodka soda.
With lime or no lime?
No lime.
No lime. So it's funny, in Texas, where I live in San Antonio, Texas, they call it, I don't know if you guys have heard this, they call it ranch water. Vodka soda with lime is ranch water.
In New York, they used to call it the skinny.
The skin, yeah. Makes sense.
Sabrina, sorry, is
Okay.
that your question, or should we go to the?
No, I was just saying it's ranch
was a
water
question.
because
It was a
everyone
question,
drinks that at the
Sabrina.
ranch in Texas.
All
Okay.
right.
What is the next, or yes, what is the next thing you want to cross off your bucket list?
Next thing I want to cross off my bucket list.
Or create a bucket list first.
No, I have a bucket list. The next thing, I have a very long bucket list of things I want to do and out of work. So my bucket list has not got to do anything with
Okay.
work.
Yeah.
I think get to a single digit in golf handicap.
Okay.
Tough
Is
one.
that your new sport as of recent?
Yeah, that's my new sport, and the competitive sports gene in me finds it incredibly hard to pick up a new sport late in life, but working on it. My wife doesn't love the sport. I'll caveat that it takes too much time.
Too many
but,
hours.
It takes a lot of time.
I'm trying to balance it.
Well, see, you balance it by taking her with you.
What for golf
play.
course? What's she gonna do?
I'll play.
Yeah. Anyway, this is not my question. It's just a follow on.
I'm trying to get my son into it, so that I can go with
that
him.
would be great.
Yeah.
He's 4. Let him kick a ball.
Yeah, we do
start
that
him with
too.
golf. He could do both.
Yeah.
He clearly has a competitive gene in him, an athletic gene.
Did you
right now
follow
he's
this
into
whole?
chess, but anyway.
Did you great game as well? Did you follow this whole PGA versus Live Saudi Arabian golf thing? Any thoughts on that? You have?
Yeah, I followed it quite closely because I watch both the Live and PGA. I don't think there's anything wrong in expanding the sport. So I'm happy they found a kind of a truce between themselves. It's great for the game.
I don't know if Rory agrees with you, but if you could use only one social media platform, which one would it be?
LinkedIn.
Not Twitter.
I would say LinkedIn. No, I don't use Twitter at all, actually. It was a toss-up between LinkedIn and Instagram, actually. Maybe Instagram, actually. I'm going to change my answer. Instagram.
All right.
I had this friendly conversation with my cousin Sabrina, that men don't use Instagram. Like men or heterosexual men, or let's just say not gays, we don't go to Instagram 4 hours a day like the women do. But then every guy we ask, they always say Instagram, and I look like an idiot. I look like I'm that old.
My
husband walked in during this disagreement, and I asked him, I said, which one do you use the most? Instagram?
My old age, my cousin Viren said the same thing, Instagram. And I was like, shit, I'm really old.
No, definitely.
If someone says Snapchat,
I think the one I use the most, I don't have a Snapchat account, or I don't use Twitter, but the one I use most is Instagram, and LinkedIn is a close second.
All right. What's your go-to song? The song that like pumps you up?
Right
now it's Waving Flag by Kanan. My son and I listen to it every morning of our lives. I drop him to school and we both sing. We both, it's a football song. We both sing it and it's in my head because He makes me listen to it at least 3 times a day.
That's so cute.
Which is
And he
your
knows the
go-to song,
words now.
Sabrina?
My go-to song. Well, right now, I probably have a few, but right now it's probably anything Taylor Swift because Sahil, I have a 10-year-old who's obsessed, and that's all we listen to. But I like her, so I'm okay with it. And before we go to her football matches, I'm like, okay, let's get you pumped up. And it's always a good Taylor Swift song.
So we use the song called Ocean by Carol G. We use it to put the kids to sleep.
That's
So it's on repeat.
That's your pump up song?
It's not my pump up song, but I've heard it so much now that it's in my head. So okay, next. If you won the lottery, $1 billion, whatever it is, what's the first thing you would buy that you haven't bought to date?
An apartment in New York City.
Penthouse in
When I
Soho.
left New York, when I left New York at 20, I think I left at 24. I left at a time where I just loved the city and my life, and I took a very spontaneous decision. I told my roommate, who was a very close friend of mine, I'm leaving. I had scribbled some ideas on the wall, which I still have up in my cabin today, and I bounced. But I told myself that at some point in my life, I will buy a place in New York City. So if I win a lottery, it'll just happen faster.
I think even without the lottery, you're going to buy it soon, Sahil. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully.
Last question. For some reason, you're frozen for 20 years. Okay. After 20 years, you're thawed out. What is the first question you would ask someone?
Or first wish?
First question, I want to know what my family's up to, my son, my wife, and figure out if Sid joined SILA or SILA's still around. But yeah, I mean, if I was frozen for 20 years, I came back, families who I would think about first.
Okay, good answer.
Let's hope they've not remarried and had 3 more kids. Or maybe let's hope they did. I don't know. That's each to their own.
Who knows?
All right.
Yeah.
Sahil, 45 minutes as promised. We are respectful for people's time, especially professionals like yourself. Appreciate you staying up, given the time difference that we're in. And I haven't seen you in a while. I hope to come to India soon. And when I do, I won't play squash with you. I won't play squash with you. I definitely won't play squash, but I'll give you a call and we'll catch up over a drink, if that's good with you.
Great. Please tell Chandni I said hi. Looking forward to seeing you all in person. Sabrina, you too. Please visit us in India at some point.
Would love to.
Yeah.
How about we meet in your apartment in New York City in a couple of years?
It's probably not going to be a couple of years. I'm quite realistic, but we'll meet in India before New York, or we can meet in New York just in general.
Sounds good.
Sahil, it was nice meeting you and learning about incredible India. So thank you for sharing.
And SILA, Sabrina. Thank you.
I was going to say, and I apologize for mispronouncing SILA. SILA. I will always call it SILA now. So
isn't there a Netflix show?
Perfect. Thank you.
Isn't there a Netflix show now called SILA or SILA?
I have no idea.
No, there's a
It's
show
on Apple
called
TV.
Prison Break back in the day. Oh, there's a show called SILA or SILA? Okay,
There's a top show right now. No?
Okay, good. Hopefully it helps. Hopefully it helps with brand recall.
Everyone, this has been a great episode of Indian Explorers. We hope you think so as well. So thank you for joining us. Please share with others and hit the subscribe button. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.